Greetings, respected guests, wonderful teachers, loving parents, and enthusiastic students. We're delighted to welcome you to Path Talks. Path Talks is an excellent forum for us to delve into the impact of our school's culture on the lives of learners, along with deliberating over the implications of the coronavirus epidemic on students of all age groups. We're honored to have Ms. Monita Sen with us today. She will be joining us shortly. She is the PYP Authorization Manager for the International Baccalaureate Organization. We look forward to her virtual presence at Path Talks soon. The IB Primary Years program for children aged 3 to 12 nurtures and develops young students as caring, active participants in a lifelong journey of learning. It offers an inquiry-based transdisciplinary curriculum framework that builds conceptual understanding. The students from the PYP will be weighing in on substantial notions that play a significant role in their lives. The fervent young minds we have with us from the PYP are Mihika Prakash and Medha Nair. These are students of Pathways World School Aravali from PYP 5, who will be discussing the impact of democratic processes implemented in school on the learning abilities of students, along with sharing their insights on learning in a social context, taking into consideration the implications of this pandemic. Firstly, we have Mihika Prakash. As the head girl of the primary school, she is an active participant in a plethora of school events. She's an avid reader who also dabbles in writing short stories. She possesses a keen interest in sports and has won medals at the district level for gymnastics and karate. We also have with us Medha Nair. She is passionate about marine life, music, singing, and making new friends. She aspires to have a dog and become a marine biologist when she grows up. She enjoys mathematics and biology and also holds the position of Air House Vice Captain. Mihika, what are the democratic processes fostered by our school for students to take greater ownership of their learning in the virtual sphere? Mihika, do we have you with us?
Yes. Okay, so here in Pathways, we follow a model of shared responsibility, where all members of a group or a class are a part of decision-making about what they want to learn and how they want to learn. Together, the students and teachers co-construct the learning experiences so that the student's experience is only the best of the best. We also follow constant reflection, which is when each student reflects every day about what they have done and how they could have done better. At the start of each semester, we identify our strengths and set our learning goals so that we can achieve them and improve ourselves throughout the semester. Each student has a different learning experience. This is called a differentiated learning experience. The students set their learning goals and the teachers go through them, facilitating the students to the best of their ability to achieve their goals. We also have our own choices of expression and medium. We can choose what we want to do to showcase our learning, whether it is a written assignment, a group discussion, a digital submission, a visible thinking routine, a graphic organizer, an act, or a piece of art.
That sounds wonderful. On a similar note, Megha, could you lend us your insight on how the online learning module has expanded the horizon of learners?
So we have had collaboration with our peers, teachers, and the global community at large. Also adding, we have had digital collaborations with schools and expert speakers from around the world. Their experiences and learnings have enriched our understanding in many ways. It's been really inspiring for me as I happen to see how different people are contributing to the world around them in their own capacities. And these opportunities seem to have opened so many possibilities for me.
We tend to put extra emphasis on the disadvantages of online learning, but hearing from you about the silver lining for learners has been marvelous. Mihika, could you share some insights about your ongoing virtual PYP exhibition? How different or similar is the experience as compared to being in the physical space of school?
It is definitely different from what it would have been, but it has its own unique benefits. Actually, multiple things are exactly the same as they would have been. We create our own central ideas and lines of inquiry. We define what is worth knowing and why it is worth knowing. We identify our research topics, and we decide on the format of our assessments. Some different things are that we have to decide on different ways to showcase our learning at home due to the pandemic. We can make a model, we can maybe make a quiz, and we can do things like that. One positive impact of the pandemic on our PYP exhibition has been that we can meet expert mentors and guest speakers from all around the world. If we were still in school, we would have only met people from the surrounding areas, as we wouldn't have been able to access people from all around the world. Now, while we're on Zoom, we can reach anywhere, anytime.
Wow, that's great to see you establish your prerogatives as learners at such a young age. Metha, to what extent do you believe virtual learning has compromised your social skills and holistic development? And in your opinion, how has the school's culture allowed you to cope with the implications of this?
Nice question. I feel really fortunate as even when the world was adversely impacted by the pandemic, our learning journey did not even get compromised. My teachers and friends easily adapted to the situation and continued to foster the beliefs of the school. I would like to tell you about my ongoing PYP exhibition journey. As they say, alone we can do so little and together we can do so much. This is something I'm experiencing right now, as each one of us come from diverse backgrounds and have different perspectives about things. And this provides us with new dimensions to things, along with giving us insights about different cultures.
Your intricate reflection and thorough exploration of the remarkable culture cultivated by the school has been truly insightful. Mihika, as the head girl of the primary school student council, could you tell us a bit about how you and your team coordinated the campaigning and election process in the virtual sphere?
Thank you for the question. So the student council elections were a process of self-reflection, where we all had to analyze our capacities and risk-taking abilities. We had to decide on the nomination process, as we had to nominate ourselves as the student council and think about how we could make a positive impact on our school. We then shared our vision with the school community through a short video about why we should be elected and qualities that we possess. Following that, there was an online voting through office forms, where each student voted for who they thought should become the student council. In the end, we all developed leadership qualities, self-confidence, and empathy towards fellow students.
It definitely seems like all of you have become more independent and self-driven over the course of this journey. We'd like to welcome Ms. Monita Sen today. Ms. Sen has over 20 years of experience in education in a variety of roles, including both teaching and leadership positions. She currently works with the International Baccalaureate Organization as the PYP Authorization Manager, providing support to schools implementing the Primary Years program as they work towards becoming IB World Schools. She's also designed and led workshops and training sessions for teachers and heads, both within and outside IB frameworks. Ms. Monita holds a master's degree in education and English literature and is currently undertaking EDD with the University of Bath. Her areas of interest in research include agency, transdisciplinary learning, teacher collaboration, and creativity. We're delighted to have you with us today and would love for you to address the audience, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Gia, for that lovely welcome. And I'm so sorry, I must apologize to you for being a bit late because of technology. It's one of those wonderful things for the moment. And I must also apologize because I do have a cat. Here she is. And every time I have a Zoom meeting, she likes to come and say hi to you. So this is one of these things that really happens now that we're in this new world of virtual life. So hello from Mac, and she says, good luck to all of you. So I just wanted to say a few words to you today because I was really excited when I got the invitation to join you. Because I think we've been talking a lot about the changes and how this is affecting education, but we very, very rarely are talking to children about it. It's often something that adults are having conversations among themselves. So I'm really, really pleased and very, very proud of you that you are demonstrating and living the learner profile and having this discussion among yourselves and with others. That really, to me, demonstrates that you have a strong sense of agency as well. So thank you once again for inviting me today, and I'm really looking forward to the discussions that we're going to have.
Thank you so much for your galvanizing words of wisdom, ma'am. they've set the app tone for Path Talks. Now we move on to the questions with Metha and Mihika. They're helping us shed light on democratic processes and how they impact learners, and just social learning in a social context and how important that is, especially at such a young age. So Metha, how did the school create opportunities for social learning despite the challenges of online school?
In school, we often have peer-to-peer learning sessions, and we use breakout rooms for group discussions. These groupings that our teachers put us into could be based on the abilities that the students have, could be based on the interests that students have, and could be based on the projects. And this is a good way to ensure that we get to work closely with each and every member in the class community. Just like physical classes, we have sessions in the evening for students who have doubts. Giving an example, recently I have engaged with a Seagull Foundation session facilitated by my school. This was Thinking Through Films, which is about history, and through the session we interacted with historians from around the world who gave us insights on history and peace.
Your self-awareness as a learner is truly remarkable. Mihika, given that we spoke about practices within our proud institution, how do you think the school has helped you stay motivated during these uncertain times?
The school has definitely helped us stay motivated. They've provided us with communication with our friends so that we can check in on how they're doing and notify ourselves that they are doing fine. They've also provided us with two-way communication between the teachers and students so that the students can contact the teachers for whatever they need any assistance with and whenever they want. We are also expected to provide regular feedback about our online learning. Even when we were in school, we had feedback for trips, camps, our student-led conferences, our guest speaker sessions, and our learning process. Our feedback is considered for important decisions for our student well-being and to improve the school.
In connection to that, Metha, how do you think learning in a social context contributes to our happiness quotient as a scholastic community?
At the start of the pandemic, I was quite apprehensive about the world not coming back to normal. But now when I look back, I think I shouldn't have been so anxious about it. The school gave me an opportunity to learn with my peers in this class situation, and this situation has taught everyone life lessons. Yet at the same time, I'm very excited to see my friends in physical class and go back to school. Also, I would like to add that the little joys of being with my friends and growing together is something I may not be able to express in words. Right from the interactions in the school bus to discussions and at times arguments in my classroom to playing as a team in the playground, every moment at school is a beautiful learning experience, and it is creating memories that are going to stay with me.
Thank you so much for your wonderful insight on this prevalent aspects of the students' lives, Mihika and Metha. Your articulate musings about our school's motivational and constructive practices that enable scholars to excel in all aspects of life have been enlightening. I believe everyone tuned in today is mesmerized and inspired by your diligence and dedication in such challenging times. Now I'd like to call upon Ms. Monita Sen to share her thoughts regarding the role played by a school's culture in the lives of learners, in context to the aspirational students' address. Over to you, ma'am.
Wow, that's a really big question. The role of school culture, I think, is a really important one. And also, I think before you even get to the question, you have to actually think about what school culture is. So I'm quite interested to understand what you as students really understand that to be. But for me, it's very much a culture builds over time. And a culture almost is like a family in a way. In many ways, schools are like families. And I'm heartened to hear the comments from some of the panelists about how school has played a very supportive role for you. And I'm wondering, as students, perhaps this has really changed your perception of school forever. Because before, perhaps school was something that maybe you had to do, or maybe in the morning when you woke up, you weren't so excited to go to school. But now, given the fact that, for so many months, I guess for you guys, it's a year now, you haven't been in school. I think you can really learn to appreciate and understand what that culture is. It's not just, school isn't just a place where you're going and you have your lessons and you're learning things. It's a place where you're interacting, you're forming those bonds, and you're becoming who you are. So for me, the value of school and the value of education really is manifold. But right now, I think for young people like yourselves, particularly in primary school, I think that value of the social interaction with your peers and that development of empathy, these are two really important things for me in the development of culture and the importance of it.
Thank you so much for for enlightening the audience with your edifying and inspirational words, ma'am. We're extremely grateful for your virtual presence at Path Talks. Now I would like to invite Iha Jha, a student at Pathway School Noida, to further explicate the impact of our school's culture on the lives of learners, keeping in mind the implications of this pandemic.
Thank you, Jia. Now, having been through the PYP myself, I'm truly in awe of how well all of our younger students have been able to adapt to these newer situations and really appreciate their learning environment through collaboration with teachers and friends, as well as leading their own projects. Like Ms. Sen just shared with us, building strong relationships with our mentors and peers are very important in developing empathy and the ability to work independently, especially in our primary years. I now invite one of our student presenters from Pathways Noida, Delisha Agarwal from 7th grade. Delisha is an extremely keen reader and loves watching documentaries about current issues to keep herself informed. Within school, she's held leadership positions like Teen Ambassador and the primary school president. Delisha, how have you managed your relationships with your mentors and peers during this time?
Well, Iha, I think firstly, the fact that so much of our school life was already online was an immense help, because with the numerous experiences and resources we had, we were able to seamlessly continue life in this new virtual environment. Then there was also the fact that we were constantly being encouraged to connect with our parents, our friends, the people around us by those in our school environment. We were being told to check in on them and see whether they were feeling okay. And that not only made them feel loved and appreciated, but it had helped us to talk to somebody. And our school also has made a few changes in our schedule. From 9 lessons, we now have 5. And they have been more considerate about our workload as well. And that's been great because we've been able to actually find time to reach out to people and connect with them. There's also the fact that form time is now just a time when we all laugh, talk, connect, rant, complain about things that are bothering us. And I feel like it's been so amazing to just have that time with my class where I can connect and feel part of a community. As for connecting with my parents and other families in our community, we've had lots of different competitions, workshops, meets, one of which would be Family Maths Day, in which I actually participated with my parents. It was just a friendly competition where different families had some competition on basic math concepts. And I had such an amazing time and morning with my family, connecting with my parents as well as the other families. And of course, it's been tough, maintaining the relationships with everyone in this online environment. But I feel like the actions the school has taken have definitely made it much, much easier.
That was wonderful to hear, and thank you for including so many perspectives. Undoubtedly so, our school has been a great help. Of course, our home environment is also very important, and our parents have played a key role in ensuring our learning. I now introduce our second presenter from MYP, Sparsh Ranjan from 7th grade. Sparsh is a passionate mathematician and an enthusiastic learner of all subjects. He's also held the position of primary school president and has been the class representative for 2 years. Sparsh, what help or guidance did you seek from your parents and teachers to better regulate your work-life balance in this unfamiliar online environment? Do we have Sparsh with us?
So, of course, we got a lot of help and guidance from our parents and teachers. And I don't really think the pandemic changed that much. So we had one-on-one meetings with our form tutors. And in this time, it's obviously very important to connect with your teachers. And even though I have actually never met my form tutors, I think I was still able to bond with them through these meetings. And I could also approach them and share my concerns about my school life, and I think I could have done the same in physical school, and our school managed it so well that I didn't really see a change in this. We also have pulse lessons, which are pathways universal life skill education, and these lessons come up each week, and I think this has really equipped me with different skills to regulate my work life balance. And in this unfamiliar online environment, as you said, I think I've been able to develop many skills, and I also feel like I can easily troubleshoot technology now because I've been in online school for almost a year. We also have mentors for many projects, and I always seek out feedback from them because it's always so good to know their thoughts about your work and how, and through this I can immediately know what I can do better next time. And now that all the teachers are so approachable, I feel very well about my feedback and my work. We also have workshops and meets with the parents of our school. And as Delisha said, we recently had Maths Day, which was a really good way to connect with the different parents of our school. Similar to physical school, we have workshops and meets, and this was a really good way to understand the different professions the parents of our schools have, and we can also learn many different skills from them. So I think this is what is very unique about a school, that we are able to form a sense of community and interdependence between all the different members, and this year has been great, and I've been able to connect and feel like a community even in this online time.
Thank you, Sparsh. It's great to hear about how active our parents and teachers have been involved during this time. And I really think that we have them to thank to help keeping us sane. Now, how has the school been able to help ease the stress and anxiety of students that arose from transitioning into online school? Delisha, would you like to take this one?
Yes. So, firstly, we did feel maybe a small touch of anxiety and stress with transitioning into virtual school, like you said. But the school, my teachers, my classmates made me feel like I wasn't alone in that. Continuing on what I said about form time, just talking to people and having meetings with my teachers, like Sparsh mentioned, one-on-one meetings. And even though it definitely wasn't like I was feeling a great ton of anxiety and stress because of the wonderful community I had, talking even just about the little problems I was facing was so great because I was able to just get out all the negative energy, and knowing that I had people supporting me and to lean back on if I needed help was a great feeling. And there were also different creative projects that the school introduced where we were able to vent out all that anxiety and stress, because even though talking is a great tool, I feel like creative processes can be an amazing outlet as well.
That was absolutely heartwarming, and it's great to hear about all of this creativity, even in the online space. Now, Talisha, you mentioned creative projects. Sparsh, could you please help us understand what kind of projects these are exactly?
So in MYP, there are multiple projects, and the most community-centered one is probably the community project, which takes place in grade 8, in which we are able to connect with various organizations and social groups and actually work for a cause. And I think this gives us really good real-world experience of how it is like to raise funds. And we are able to develop many skills through this because it's completely self-led. We also have passion projects, personal project, and genius up, and these really help us find and explore our passions. So, for instance, my genius art is about research on space exploration, and my product will be to make a video summarizing all the points I have learned through the 12 weeks of research I've done. And I think I'm able to really develop the skills. As I said, all these projects are really self-led, and even though we get support from our teachers, at the end of the day, it's our project and it's about our passion. So similarly, some of these Genius Art projects could be action-based. So for example, one of my friends is passionate about dance, and she's teaching dance to younger students to further her knowledge about dance. And I think this really helps us develop independence, which is really important in MYP because we're not really sure about what career we'll do next, and it's really important to understand where we want to go.
Thank you, Sparsh. Completing Genius Hour online is quite the feat. Now, Delisha, how have these ongoing self-led projects completed online helped you develop as an independent?
Well, we now have asynchronous time, which is something we definitely did not have in offline school. Asynchronous time is basically when we can work on our own independently at our own pace and with tools and techniques that suit us. So we're given a certain task and we can go about it however we find. And I feel like that's been great to develop as an independent learner and grow with my own learning techniques. Practical lessons such as science stimulations, dance, etc. have now also become more individual, which again have helped me develop my skills as an independent learner. There have also been lots of creative project-based learnings in which we've had to do different interviews, watch videos, extract information, and due to the online environment, much of it has now become individual work. And personally, I feel like that's been great because we've been able to learn at our own pace and grow in a way that suits us. And Genius Art, again, like Sparsh mentioned, has been a great tool too. Incorporating different other sites into that, such as Nearpod and Khan Academy, have been great to help us develop as independent learners.
Thank you, Alicia. And it's absolutely true. Pathways focuses on providing its students with a range of extracurricular opportunities to help develop interests and showcase our many talents. Sparsh, how did the school continue to host these inter-class events online to help motivate students?
Even online, there are multiple competitions held in many different fields. And I feel like this really helps us develop different skills and show our talents to our peers. So recently, right now we're having LIT Unlimited in grade 6 to 8, which is a literature competition. We've also had multiple art competitions. I feel like around 3 to 4 just in the last semester. And for those who are actually passionate about art, they're really able to show their talents to their peers and to their teachers. We also had a debate competitions last semester, and this was quite new for all of us because 2 students were picked from each section as representatives, and it was completely organized by the teachers, and it was one of the first competitions we had online. So, as I said, all these events are usually hosted by our teachers, and there's also student organizers that help them host these events, and they're able to also develop their own skills while helping the teachers. And I think through this, Pathways gives multiple opportunities to showcase that, to help students showcase their talents. And this really helps us abide by a rule of learn, work, play, think, and live.
7th grade sounds like a blast. Even in the online world, we're able to live up to our school's vision of learning in a creative and mentally stimulating space. Thank you so much, Sparsh and Delisha, for sharing your experiences with us. Schools across the world have strived to continue traditions and keep up their values and school culture in the virtual environment. I now reinvite Ms. Monita to deepen our understanding of the other ways in which schools provide support to students to make them an independent learner and help in personalized learning.
In an online environment, this is very interesting because you would automatically think, okay, well, now you're doing everything online, then that's going to be great. You're all going to become independent, right? But I think this happened so quickly, and there was very little opportunity for preparation in terms of students and both teachers and schools as well. So I think in the first part of lockdown, really early in 2020, everyone was really just in that survival mode of making things happen and just making sure there was some kind of continuity to what you were doing. And it was also a little bit exciting in a way because it was something that's never happened before in our lives. And I think everybody was like, oh, we're off school, and it's, you might have thought that to begin with. But I think as the year went on, and I really like the way that you guys talked about the importance of values and traditions of schools, because I think there were a lot of traditions that perhaps schools looked at and said, actually, do those really align with values, and are we doing those just for the sake of? But then there were things that you value that really come through. So I think schools really had to re-examine themselves in respect to that. And in terms of personalization, this is also interesting because recently I did a presentation with teachers and I asked them, do you think that your students have an increased sense of agency or a decreased sense of agency since we've gone online. And all of them, really, a vast majority, felt that students had an increased sense of agency, and they as teachers also felt that. So I think it's a massive opportunity for us to relook at the relevancy of education. Definitely we know we need it and we know it's important, but I think that we're looking at it in a different way. And the home environment, let's be honest, not everyone has the same privilege that perhaps we do. When we look around different countries, even within India, do all students have this opportunity to access online learning? So I think it's really important to look at what are the other ways that education is reaching our communities and outside of your own schools and your own experience, because that aspect of action and the community is also a really important one.
Thank you so much for your insight on global school culture and personalized learning, Ms. Monita. And thank you for giving us that slight food for thought at the end. I now re-invite Gia to continue with today's proceedings.
Thank you, Iha. It is absolutely fantastic to witness these aspiring adolescents adapting to these challenging circumstances with such ease. Keeping that in mind, I'd now like to call upon the student presenters from the IB Diploma Program. The IB Diploma Program is an assessed program for students aged 16 to 19. It is respected by leading universities across the globe. The program aims to develop students who have excellent breadth and depth of knowledge, students who flourish physically, intellectually, emotionally, and ethically. The student presenters from the IBDP, Abhivik and Dia Sood, will be examining resilience and adaptability in the learning process in context to challenges accompanying this pandemic. Abhi is the Student Council President of Pathway School Gurgaon and has been a part of the community since its inception. Branching out into various spheres of student life, he's represented the school through Model UN, the school band, and the football team. He intends to study law ensuing his graduation while remaining dedicated to pursuing his passions. Dia is a DP2 student at Pathway School Gurgaon and has been at Pathway since the 5th grade. An avid MUNer and contributor at various international competitions and conferences, she is currently the Secretary General of the school. She aspires to study law in the forthcoming years. Delighted to have you with us, Abhi and Dia. Abhi, to what extent do you believe this pandemic has stimulated you to embark on a journey of discovering yourself as a learner?
So I feel that because more of the onus of being productive and remaining dedicated to our schoolwork and our school commitments were placed on us because we were at home in a virtual platform, on a virtual platform rather than in a physical space. It really tested our ability to remain focused and remain dedicated. And I feel that in the process and through this shift from physical to virtual, I gained an increased understanding of my strengths and areas of improvement, alongside a greater sense of self-reliance and self-awareness about my current capabilities and what my future potential is, alongside what I need to do to reach it. And I feel that additionally, there was also the realization that learning is not limited to a physical space, but rather that it's about the interactions within a community and between people. And I feel that through this, not only I, but my peers and learners throughout the DP space gained a realization as to what's actually contributing to our learning and what is important to help us understand concepts, gain knowledge, and overall grow as individuals. And I feel that consequently, we gain an appreciation for our mentors, peers, our interactions in general with other people. And it gave us a sense of increased self awareness about how to continue growing, what to truly value, and what to appreciate. On a more practical note, however, because all interactions were now taking place virtually, I feel that we developed a skill set and gained an increased familiarity with online tools that we would have otherwise not been exposed to. And it gave us the realization about the value of a varied skill set and that there's always a way to grow and learn despite certain circumstances.
Thank you for that apt reflection. Dia, on a similar note, what role did the school and its culture play in helping you cope with the implications of online schooling on your mental health?
So definitely this pandemic has been a trying time for all of us, and especially being a part of the DP program. For us, it's very important to remain on track in order to maintain our mental health, especially now with all our deadlines approaching, including our mocks and our final exams. But we never really felt like we were being left behind, even on an online space. And I do believe that the school and its culture played a very important role in this. So much like our learning statement at Pathways, transitioning to an online platform was a process of learning and relearning. Because earlier in MYP, we were reliant on our laptops for our exams. And as a curriculum, it did involve the use of a lot more technology. And in comparison, when we moved to the DP space, it was back to handwritten notes, handwritten exams. And so this transition was a process of relearning how to adapt to the situation and once again become reliant on technology. And this was possible only through the accommodating school culture and the adaptability which was evident when our school actually developed a new timetable format. So initially, when the year began, we had lessons that lasted for an hour and 15 minutes. However, moving into an online space with the exact same format would have not been the most productive solution. And so even our classes were reduced to 45 minutes. And furthermore, breaks in between our lessons were increased to 15 minutes to account for screen fatigue, which due to this was never really an issue. And so rather than a break from learning, these breaks in between serve the purpose as being breaks for learning because they gave us time between our lessons to reflect on what we had learned, perhaps how we could make our own personal spaces at home more suited for learning. But they also gave us the agency to reach out to our teachers in this time in order to clarify any doubts which we may have had, in order to prevent them from plaguing us later. And along with our academics, obviously a big part of our lives now are college applications. And so it may seem stressful that along with DP and the pandemic, we also have to think about this. So what our school did was we actually scheduled specific times for meeting with the college counselors, be it one-on-one or sessions with the entire grade. And so these sessions really allowed us to assimilate into this process and normalize the process despite being in an online format. And these sessions that were conducted along with the rest of our grade as well, they let us know that we weren't alone on this tumultuous journey that is DP2, and we had other people around us going through the exact same thing. Additionally, this pandemic really prompted a change in the way that we interacted with our teachers. And so now we had the opportunity to have one-on-one sessions in breakout rooms and catch up for personalized learning experiences. And in the meantime, we all had asynchronous learning. And this helped us understand our own individual learning styles as well. And so even in a hybrid school format where some of us are actually physically going to school and the rest of us are staying at home, these feedback sessions still occur online so that the rest of the students who perhaps aren't there in a physical space can catch up. And so adapting to different styles of learners and adapting to different situations is a way that at Pathways we acknowledge that everybody learns differently and everybody has their own comfort zones. And catering to that is a big part of the learning process.
Absolutely, Dia. So, in order to obtain a more intimate understanding of your journey as a learner, Abhay, maybe you'd like to help me out with this. How did you keep up with the workload of this rigorous curriculum while simultaneously catering to your emotional well being in the face of the transition from physical to virtual learning?
So I feel that maintaining my creative and active pursuits while in lockdown and while learning online was vital to maintaining my emotional well-being. And doing so, I believe, is something that was strongly supported by our school and its culture, because Pathways is dedication to ensuring we remain in touch with our passions, in accordance to its motto of learn, work, play, think, and live. Like, it essentially ensured that it gave us mental breaks and enabled us to continue doing things we enjoy while learning. For example, I'm heavily engaged, as you mentioned, with music, with MUN, with football. And because the school essentially ensured that there was dedicated time to each of those appropriate activities, the music club continued online. We had online physical education lessons where we discussed music, recent sports events. We actually engaged in physical activity online as well. And aside from giving us this opportunity to remain dedicated to our passions and get a break from stressful work, it also gave us the opportunity to remain in touch with people, because the lockdown was a particularly isolating time for many, and giving us the opportunity to remain connected. Humans are social beings. It gave us the ability to feel enriched, to remain dedicated. It gave us a mental break. It ensured we stayed stable and emotionally well. And the school's culture essentially was vital to doing so. Yeah.
Abhi, it's great to see that you've truly embodied the ethos of no lockdown and creativity, and your candor and self-awareness have been truly refreshing. Dia, how did the inability to be present in the physical space of school hinder your ability to develop and showcase your leadership skills?
So I do believe that being online didn't actually hinder our leadership skills. Rather they allowed us to channel these in a different manner. So for example, at our school, we continued the Pehel initiative, which was a student-led initiative that we have at Pathways Gurgaon that aims to provide our support staff with skills such as fluency in English, technology, and personal hygiene. And these were headed by the service team at our school. And even during the pandemic, these were continued on an online format where we engage with the support staff over WhatsApp calls. And this was extremely important since even the school staff had to adjust to such unprecedented times. And so these sessions now focus specifically on their well-being, health, and technology skills in light of the pandemic. And it was just one of the ways that we share the privilege we have of being aware and educated with the people around us. Additionally, as part of the council, we truly try our best to ensure that all the events which would be happening in physical school, like Teachers' Day and Pathways and Stars, would still be a success despite being online. And so coordinating with the whole grade, the new DP2, this was just another one of the ways that we were able to showcase our leadership skills. Additionally, more than us as well, I do believe that teachers also learned to navigate how to host events in these new times. And so for us, they had planned a Children's Day celebration. And because of this, it was not only us as students who learned from this process, it also sparked growth in the teachers as well, because even they were learning in this journey to navigate a new space with us. And so it was a journey of collaboration as well, with both the students and teachers guiding each other in order to make the learning process more effective.
Thank you so much, Abhi and Dia. Your self-reflection and acumen have been entirely remarkable. It gives us immense pleasure to have such eloquent and astute scholars representing our institution. I'd like to call upon Ms. Sen to weigh in on resilience and adaptability in the learning process with regards to the challenges posed by the pandemic.
Yeah, thank you, Gia. Resilience is a really big one, I think. And I'd like to build on the point that Abe mentioned as well. And I think this is something I can personally relate to. I'm also a student in a way. I'm doing my doctorate, but at the same time, I have a full-time job. So that's interesting. But yeah, you learn a lot about yourself. And I can pick up from the comments of your DP students as well, that it was the same for you as students. And I think generally you were probably much more resilient than your teachers who had to go through the stress, because that is, I think, the nature of youth as well. But yeah, this point of learning about ourselves and having an awareness that we actually need to look after our mental health. Probably if I'd asked any of you in 2019, how do you think you need to look after your mental health, you would have been like, no, I'm fine. Are you crazy? But it's something now, it's so wonderful to hear you all talking about it as very much an integrated part of your personality, and awareness that it's not just my physical health, but at times like this, we really do need each other. We are social beings, as you guys said. And I think the adaptability is part of our human nature. And I do love that about humans. And one of the things that I think really concerns me when I hear people saying, oh, when will it get back to normal? Or, when we're back to normal. Because if we go back to normal, or if we think we're going back to normal, then we really have not learned anything from this whole 1.5 years. So I think that also, through the resilience and the adaptability, if we don't take that and those learning lessons into our future, then that is a huge missed opportunity.
Thank you so much for your edifying and galvanizing words, ma'am. I truly resonate with them, and it's lovely to hear your insight. Now I would once again like to invite Iha to take the proceedings of this conference forward.
Thank you, Jia. The challenges of the last 10 months have reshaped our understanding of the ideal learning environment. From online modules to virtual award ceremonies, our student generation has mastered the skill of adapting to their times and using technology as a beneficiary to their education. With the extra time that being at home has brought us, Pathways' commitment to ensuring personalized learning for each and every student in the PYP, MYP, and DP has never been greater. And we have our excellent teachers to thank for making this blended learning space adapt to us independent learners. With complete certainty, I can say that our newfound understanding of responsible self-management will only help us persevere in this constantly changing world. I now request all of our speakers from today to turn on their cameras. Thank you all for sharing your experiences with us. I now invite Ms. Sen to share her last thoughts for today with us.
Thank you. Yes, these were going to be my first thoughts, but now after listening to you all, and because I had some technical difficulties, they're going to be some summary thoughts. But I'm so glad that I was able to be here with you all. I've really learned a lot. It's been very inspiring to listen to you and to listen to your reflections and get your perspectives as well. And I was struck by something that I read recently that I'm talking a lot about. There was a sociologist called Zygmunt Bauman, and he wrote about something called liquid modernity. And really from that, we can get the concept that the time that we're living in is very liquid. It's like a liquid. A liquid takes the shape of anything that it's in. And as students, you're also having to become liquid learners in a way. You are just having to adapt. Today, if the room is square, you're like, okay, the room is square, and you're taking the shape of that. So I'm very impressed, and I'm interested to know what the effects of this will be, 10, 15 years from now, when we look back on this moment and on this year, what will be our reflections? What will be the things that we're taking away from it? And I really, truly do hope that there are very positive things and that we, not only as individuals, but as a human race, as humanity, have learned and taken a lot away from this. And I really hope that although we haven't been traveling externally, we have been traveling a lot. This is something that I found this year. I grew plants. I never grew a plant before in my life because I was never in one place long enough. So I think there are so many skills that we have gained and so many learnings about ourselves. So I think it's important at this juncture to just stop and to reflect, which I can see that you guys really have while answering these questions, that you've been very reflective about this experience. So I really encourage you to continue to be, because no one else in the world has ever been through this exact experience, given where we are in time and space. So even though there have been many challenges, there are also many opportunities. So I think that's something to remember, and to continue to be liquid, and to not only inspire each other, but to inspire your broader community, because tomorrow all of us adults here will be gone, but you and your children, you will be continuing on. So these choices and these lessons that you're learning are so important. So thank you for sharing this part of it with me, and I've really learned a lot from you all today.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspectives with us, Ms. Monita, throughout this session, and for introducing us to that new term, liquid learners. I'm sure that we're all very inspired to be a little bit more self-aware, especially us who are still learning in life. We hope this webinar gave you an insight into student life here at Pathways. And once again, a very special thanks to Ms. Monita for joining us today. Thank you everyone who's listening in from Facebook, and we hope you have a great day ahead.